Hey guys, one thing I have always appreciated about living here though, is that the government enforces the laws regarding radio emissions, and I am grateful for that. One area where I think we could improve things, however, is with regards to the enforcement of the regulations on consumer digital electronics. You see, our whole objective in amateur radio should be to operate with minimum interference to others and maximum capability for ourselves. Unfortunately, things have changed since I got my first license, over 40 years ago. I feel that digital consumer electronics are just way too noisy at RF. Now I'm not going to name any names, but it seems like some manufacturers just don't care about RF emissions. I can tell you that the noise floor on HF has gotten significantly worse over the last few years, and it's getting more and more difficult to make long-distance contacts. Okay, so why do I bring this up? Well, it's time that we start addressing this issue, because I truly believe that this is going to be the next big thing. Threatens our hobby. You see, all of the energy being emitted from these devices is creating an invisible barrier between hams, and it's also interfering with other services that rely on the radio spectrum. Remember that we share the airwaves with everyone else, and it's our responsibility to operate in a manner that doesn't interfere with others. So, how do we fix this? Well, I think it's going to take a three-pronged approach. First, we need to increase awareness among regulators. Second, we need to increase awareness among equipment manufacturers. And third, we need to increase awareness among fellow licensees. Let's take a look at each of these, one at a time. First, regulators. Our elected officials write the laws and appoint EFCOM to enforce them. It's not fair for them to place restrictions on what we can do with our equipment, but then turn around and ignore the fact that almost every piece of electronics that people own is emitting huge amounts of RF energy. All you have to do is walk outside and point your SDR at any building, and you'll find countless signals, well above the limit of 50 millivolts per meter. Okay, now let's take a look at what we can do about the poor shielding on consumer electronics. While it's true that these devices emit excessive amounts of noise, many of them could be fixed with some simple design changes. The first step to fixing this problem is to bring attention to it. Thankfully, groups like the RSGB and ARRL are already working on this issue, and they're asking manufacturers to make changes that reduce the amount of noise emitted from their products. It's also helpful if we document the problems and publish them on websites like this. One website that's doing a great job of documenting this problem is whitenoisewall.com. The owner runs a great website with lots of resources for filtering out digital noise. This includes using shielded cables, twisting cables together to reduce pickup, and using ferrites on cables to filter out high-frequency noise. We also need to be aware of the power supplies that we're using. Switching power supplies can be a major source of noise, so it's best to use linear power supplies whenever possible. Finally, we need to be good digital citizens and not allow our radios to generate excessive noise. So that's the situation with noise on the airwaves today. It's bad, but it's not hopeless. By working together, we can bring the noise down and preserve our hobby for future generations. Thanks for watching, and until next time, 73.